Hello and welcome back to your next installment of Yoga 101. Today we're exploring twists and binds, which follows on from what we've already covered with our basics, our vinyasa flow and our lunging poses. So we'll start to revisit some of the poses we've already run through, but starting to experience variations that include twisting movements and finding binds with our hands to start to explore more extension and to find more freedom through our spine and our body. So we'll start up in standing. So take your time. So we are going to revisit our sun salutations or our vinyasa flow to start to warm our body up. So standing tall and proud, knuckles at the big toes touching, hands to heart center, gazes forward, lift up through the crown of your head. And then as you inhale, extend the hands towards the sky, palms touch. Exhale, bend through the knees if you need to bring your fingertips to the ground. Inhale to lift halfway, hands to the ground or your shins. Then bring your hands to the mat as you step back into your high plank. Shift the shoulders forward, knees to the ground. Elbows graze the rib cage as you bend through the elbows. Inhale into your baby cobra. Roll your shoulders back, engage your back muscles. Chin down, come back through the knees, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Now come up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees and start to walk your feet up towards your hands. Feet are together. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Let it go. Inhale to come up to standing, palms touch. Finishing your sun salutation by bringing your hands back to heart center. Beautiful. Inhale, hands to the sky, palms touch. Exhale, swan dive forward, bend the knees if you need to. Inhale to lift, make sure your hands aren't hovering, they make contact with the ground or your shins. As you then step back into your high plank, if you'd like, you can keep your knees lifted, shift your shoulders forward, elbows graze the rib cage. Bring your heart up into your up dog, otherwise cobra remains your modification. Flip over the toes, push back. Downward facing dog. Come up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees. Step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift, exhale to fold. Inhale all the way up to stand, palms touch. Bring your hands to heart center. Beautiful. So now you've experienced those different variations for your sun salutation A or your vinyasa flow. And then as we inhale next, we'll bring the hands towards the sky, palms touch. And as you exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, step back with your right foot into your runner's lunge. So big step back, lightly bringing your foot to the ground. Now remembering our alignment principles with our lunging poses to make sure your front ankle's directly underneath your front knee, staying on the ball of the back foot or bring your back knee down onto the ground. Roll the shoulders back, broaden through your collarbones. Keep your head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. Now this is where we'll start to explore our first twist. So you're going to leave your left hand on the ground and bring your right hand to your right hip. So you start to look towards the side of the room. Now this might be enough for you. You can also have the back toe tucked under and lifting the back knee off the ground. Now if you can roll your right shoulder back and you're stacking right shoulder on top of left, then maybe you're extending your right hand straight up towards the sky. So no creepy hands, extend through the fingertips, but your twist is happening right from the base of the spine. It's not just the arm, it's lower, middle, upper back. Your right arm and fingertips are just the final continuation of that twist. Beautiful. Bring your right hand down. Step back into high plank and downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your dog out for a moment if it feels good to open out through the back of your legs, Achilles, calf muscles, and then pause in your down dog. Remember to bring some weight into all 10 finger pads, not just the heel of your hand, to keep the weight evenly distributed. And then on your next inhale, left leg to the sky. And start to bring your left foot in between the hands. Use your core to step through silently. Then adjust your feet if you need to. Start to bring the back knee down onto the ground if you did so on the first side. And just check the alignment, front ankle underneath front knee for your lunging pose. And remember that your feet are on train tracks, not a tightrope. So make sure your left foot's directly in front of your left hip, right foot is behind your right hip. Then from there, roll your shoulders back, and then we come into our twist by leaving right hand on the ground, left hand to the left hip. Now remember, lower, middle, upper back, left arm might be the continuation of that pose if your shoulders are stacking. Now your back knee can be lifted or on the ground. So if you're lifting the back knee, make sure that you keep the integrity of the twist. So it's not just having your chest forward and trying to twist through the arm. It's lower, middle, upper back, and then perhaps lifting left hand towards the sky. Now the position of your head, it can either be down in line with the rest of the spine, or you can start to twist through the neck as well as you look up towards your left hand. Bring your left hand down, slight bend through the back knee. As you step forward, feet together. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way to stand. Palms touch. And bring your hands to heart center. Beautiful. So inhale, hands towards the sky. Exhale to swan dive. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Step back with your right foot, so straight to where we left off. Now remembering, sometimes we step back into lunges, sometimes we step forward into lunges. So whenever we work either backwards or forwards, we're working with control. Now from here, come back into your twist. Right hand stays on the ground, left hand to the hip or towards the sky. Now you have the option of coming into Cleopatra. So this is a pose that comes by a few names, but most of the time it'll be Cleopatra. As you come onto the outside edges of both feet, start to lower your hips and point your left hand towards the wall behind you. So keep your right shoulder strong, it becomes a bigger part of your foundation. You're also keeping your ankles engaged so you're not sickling through the ankle. And start to point your left hand towards the wall behind you or slightly down. Then bring your left hand back up and over as you square your hips. Step back into your down dog. Take a moment here. If you do want to sneak in a vinyasa flow, you're more than welcome to, but there's plenty of time for that. Then as you inhale, right leg towards the sky. Now use your core, come onto the ball of the foot. Tiger curl your knee in, step forward. Runner's lunge first, adjust the feet if you need to. Feet are on train tracks, ankle under knee, roll your shoulders back. Then from here, left hand stays on the ground, right hand towards your hip or towards the sky. Lower, middle, upper back are twisting. Right hand's that final part of your pose. Perhaps now starting to roll onto the outside edges of both feet. Lower your hips and point your right hand towards the back wall. Cleopatra. Now your left shoulder is strong. Right fingertips are active. One more breath. Right hand comes up and over, square your hips. Slight bend through the back knee as you step forward, feet together. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way to stand. Palms touch. And bring your hands back to heart center. Beautiful. Take a moment here. Inhale, hands towards the sky. Exhale to swan dive. Bend the knees if you need to. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Step the feet back. Optional vinyasa flow or simply come into your downward facing dog. So knowing when to rest, knowing when your body is craving some more movement, but we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. Now from your down dog, inhale right leg towards the sky. Step through for your runner's lunge. So tiger curl in, step the foot through silently. Adjust the feet if you need to. Now once you have your foundation in your runner's lunge, we're coming up into our high lunge. So remember, you can always bring your hands to your hips first if that helps you with your balance. Otherwise, just starting to sweep the hands towards the sky. So we're coming down nice and deep into the front knee, stacked over the front ankle, staying on the ball of your back foot. Now from here, bring your hands to heart center. So we're going to come into a twist. So start to hinge forward, neutral spine. So a rounded spine should never twist. We always keep a neutral spinal alignment. Now twist towards your right as you bring your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Modification, back knee is on the ground. Otherwise, tuck your back toes, lift the back knee. Now maybe your gaze is down towards your mat. Maybe you have enough balance that you can start to look towards the side. Now what we're trying to do is bring your hands in line with your sternum in the middle of your chest. Beautiful, and that might be enough. And we're keeping the integrity of the twist. If you can keep the depth and open up your wings, you can start to bring your left hand down and your right hand towards the sky. But it's just an option. Then start to bring your hands back to heart center. Now bring your arms towards the sky. Crescent lunge. Hands to the ground. Step back into high plank or down dog. Optional vinyasa flow is there if you'd like to take it. Otherwise, pause in your down dog or even child's pose, of course, if you need to have a complete break, and rejoin whenever you're ready. We're starting to move towards the other side. So as you inhale in your down dog, lift your left leg towards the sky. Tiger curl in, step the left foot through silently, find your runner's lunge first. Front ankle under knee. Feet are on train tracks, not a tightrope. Roll your shoulders back. Hands to the hips if you need to before you sweep your arms towards the sky. Your drishti, your focused gaze, is on one point in front of you. Then bring your hands to heart center. Now keeping a neutral spine, hinge forward, trying not to round, so keeping a nice neutral spine, and then twist towards your left as the right elbow comes on the outside of your left knee, and use the leverage of your elbow against your knee, but also your knee back towards your elbow. So you're pressing and leveraging. You're trying to get your hands in line with the middle of your chest. Modification, back knee on the ground is there if you need it. Otherwise, back knee is off the ground. Maybe, if you can keep the depth of the twist, bring right hand down, left hand to the sky as you open your arms up. Position of your head and neck might be down to the side or up towards your left hand. Then bring your hands back to heart center. Hands to the sky for your crescent lunge. Bring them down to the ground. Step back into your high plank. Maybe it's down dog or your flow. Listen to your body. Listen to your breath. And then from here, as you inhale, bring your right leg towards the sky. Come back through for your runner's lunge first. Then once you have your positioning for your runner's lunge, we're coming up into warrior one, so Virabhadrasana 1. So remember with our warrior one, we spin the back heel down to the ground, so your back foot's on around a 45-degree angle as you sweep your hands towards the sky. Square your hips and shoulders to the front edge of your mat. Fingertips are active, making sure there's space between your biceps and your ears. So this is your warrior one. So it's a lunging pose, so front knee over front ankle. Then rotate your arms behind you. Interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades in towards each other. Open up through your heart space. Inhale, look up towards the sky. And as you exhale, hinge forward. So maybe you're draping your chest over your front knee and thigh. Maybe you're bringing your right shoulder on the inside of that knee. This is humble warrior. So let your head and neck go. So you're not straining the head and neck to keep the head lifted. Just keep your head and neck in line with the rest of your spine. You're stabilizing through your lower body as you open up through your chest and your shoulders. Next, inhale. You're gently rising back up. Unravel the arms towards the sky. Hands through heart center. Down onto the ground. Optional vinyasa flow, otherwise down dog or child's pose are your friends. So choose your variation. Remember to connect with your breath.
And then from our downward facing dog, as you inhale, left leg towards the sky. Then step your left foot in between the hands. So it's always runner's lunge first. Find your alignment. Then spin your back heel to the ground as you sweep your arms towards the sky for your warrior one. Find your positioning, then rotate your arms behind you. Now interlace in the opposite way. If you're not sure to go to what's natural, then switch so you find balance on both sides. So squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Inhale to look up. Exhale to fold forward. Maybe draping your chest over the left thigh. Maybe bringing your left shoulder on the inside of that knee. So whatever range of motion you currently have, opening out through your shoulders and chest as you stabilize through your lower body. Making sure you're not straining your neck. Your next inhale, slowly unraveling back up to your warrior one. Hands to the ground. Down dog or child's pose, choose your variation. Whatever feels good for you to release. So you can start to see that we're coming into twisting and binding variations. So after, if you just took a vinyasa flow, take a break. Because when we come into our binds, quite often our hands are interlaced in one capacity. So maybe you can interlace your hands behind you with your palms together. If you are a little bit open through the shoulders, that might happen. Otherwise, you can interlace the hands with the palms apart. But just starting to find the positioning that feels good in your body today. Okay, so coming back into your downward facing dog now. And as you inhale, right leg towards the sky. And then you're going to step your right foot in between your hands, runner's lunge. And then as you inhale, come up into your warrior one. Then open up into your warrior two. So remember with your warrior two, back foot's now at 90 degrees. You're opening up your entire body to the side of the room, arms extended, gaze over the front hand. Now from here, we're going to come into extended side angle. So your lower body is going to stay exactly where it is in that lunge. You're going to bring your right elbow on top of your right knee and extend your left hand towards the sky. Now this might be enough for you. You might also like to flip your left palm towards the front of the room and reach up and over so you have that diagonal line from your fingertips to the outside edge of your left foot. Now this might be an option. You might also be able to extend your right hand on the inside of your right foot. So that might be available to you. Otherwise, modification, elbow stays on top of the thigh. Now from here, you can start to bring your right hand behind your lower back to seek out your right hip crease. So this is a half bind. Now if you can keep your shoulders back and your hips open and potentially bring your right arm underneath your thigh and interlace the hands, then this is coming into a full bind. But if that doesn't feel right, or if you drop your chest down too far or pike through your hips, then just come into the half bind or the first variation. So we want to make sure that our hips stay open and our shoulders stay stacked. Next inhale brings you back to warrior two, rising up. Find your warrior strong yet composed. Then bring your hands to the ground as the back heel lifts and push back into your down dog. Take a breath. Next inhale, left leg towards the sky. Curl it through, step through, runner's lunge first. Spin the back heel down, sweep the arms, warrior one. Then open out into your warrior two. Now from here, keeping your lower body where it is, deep bend through the front knee, engaging your inner thighs to anchor your feet. Back foot, back edge of your foot, in line with the back edge of your mat. Now from here, extended side angle. Left elbow on top of left thigh and extend your right hand towards the sky. So this is your first option. Maybe you're flipping the palm, reaching up and over, creating that diagonal line from right hand to right foot. Maybe you're starting to extend your left hand down towards the ground. If not, stay up on the elbow. Now from here, maybe if you can keep your hips open without dropping your shoulders forward, then maybe bringing your right arm behind your lower back, right fingertips, seek out your left hip crease. Keep rolling your right shoulder back, open through the hips. Maybe you can start to bring your left arm underneath the left thigh to interlace your hands behind you to find your bind. Keep rolling your right shoulder back, open through your hips. Now that's just an option. Remember that you can always keep a half bind or one of the first two variations. Next inhale, you're unraveling back up to your warrior two. Gazes forward, shoulders are stacked over hips. Bring your hands to the ground. Push back into your down dog. Take a breath. Maybe you're in down dog, maybe you're in child's pose. Then on your next inhale, lift your right leg towards the sky. And then step your right foot in between your hands, runner's lunge. Beautiful. So from your runner's lunge, you're going to come up into your warrior one once again. And then you're going to open out into your warrior two. This time, straighten through your front leg. So you don't move your feet, back foot, back edge is still in line with your mat. Right toes facing towards the front edge. Arms are extended, legs are straight. Now reach forward, try to touch the wall in front of you. So you're reaching, reaching, reaching. And then when you've reached as far as you can, we're coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So you're bringing your right hand down and your left hand to the sky. Now this is where you might find a big book at your house or a yoga block to put your hand up on, but you can also bring your hand to your foot, ankle, shin or knee as you extend your left hand towards the sky. So modify as much as you need to because it might not be possible for you to reach your right hand to the ground today. But what we're trying not to do is piking through the hips and dropping the chest. I want you to imagine there's a wall behind you and you're trying to get your entire back body to touch that wall. So that means opening out through your hips and try to imagine that both shoulders, your hips, your legs, and your left arm are all touching that imaginary wall behind you. Beautiful. Next inhale brings you back up to warrior two. Bending through the front knee, arms are extended, and bring your hands to the ground, back heel lifts, and then step back into your downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let it go. Next inhale, left leg is reaching towards the sky. Use your core to step your left foot in between your hands. Find your runner's lunge first. Then spin your back heel down at 45 degrees, sweep the arms towards the sky, Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Then open out into your warrior 2. Back foot's now at 90 degrees. You're opening out towards the side of the room, arms are extended. Then straighten through your front leg. Leave your legs and feet placement as they are. Arms are still reaching. Now start to hinge from your hips and try and touch the wall in front of you. So it's a reach, reach, reach. From there, you pivot the arms. So whether your left hand comes to your shin, ankle, knee, wherever it needs to, or whether it can reach the ground, you're extending your right hand straight up towards the sky. So even in this pose, we're not locking our knees out. We're keeping a tiny micro bend behind the knee. Engage your quadriceps to lift your kneecaps. Extending right hand straight up towards the sky. So this is your Trikonasana triangle pose. Take one more breath. Stay for the exhale. Next inhale brings you back to warrior 2. Arms are extended, deep bend through the front knee. And then bring your hands to the ground to frame the front foot. Step back into your downward facing dog. Then you're coming up onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees. Step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, toe heel your feet out to hip distance. You're going to pistol grip your big toe, so bring your peace fingers around your big toe and seal your mudra with your thumb in between those two fingers. Inhale to lift, keeping the bind through the hands. Exhale, bend your elbows out to the side, fold forward. Knees can be straight or bent. In your forward folds, bending knees will always take pressure off your hamstrings at the back of your legs and your lower back. Then release the bind. Toe heel your feet in together to touch. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold forward. And then inhale, come all the way to stand. Palms touch. And bring your hands to heart center. Now let's start to bring some of that together in a flowing sequence. So as you inhale, hands towards the sky, palms touch. And as you exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, step back with your left foot into your runner's lunge. Leave your left hand on the ground, right hand to the hip or towards the sky. Coming onto the outside edge of both feet, lowering your hips, Cleopatra pose. Then bringing the hand up and over, step back into your high plank. Optional vinyasa flow, knees on or off the ground. Meeting back in downward facing dog. From your down dog, as you inhale, bring your right leg towards the sky. Tiger curl, right foot in between the hands, runner's lunge. Then you're going to come into your twist by leaving the left hand on the ground, right hand towards the right hip, extend it towards the sky. Right hand down, sweep the arms up, crescent lunge. Hands through heart center. Hinge forward, twist. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee, maybe extending your arms out. Come back through center. Hands towards the sky, and then come into your warrior two. Bring your right elbow on top of the right knee as you bring your left hand towards the sky or reaching that arm up and over. Maybe you're finding a half bind, maybe a full bind. And then starting to release the arms as you straighten through the front leg, come into your Trikonasana triangle pose. Both legs are straight, lifting left hand towards the sky. Next inhale brings you back to warrior two, deep bend through the front knee, hands to the ground. You can come into your down dog or your vinyasa flow. Choose your variation. And then from your downward facing dog, come up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, step the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale. Come to stand, palms touch. Bring your hands to heart center. It's okay if you get a little bit lost. Choose any variations or modifications that you need to, or take it at your own pace. As you inhale, hands to the sky. And as you exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale to lift. Exhale, step back with your right foot, runner's lunge. Big step back, find your alignment. And then we twist by leaving right hand on the ground, left hand towards your hip or towards the sky. Option to come onto the outside edges of your feet, lower your hips, Cleopatra. Then bring your left hand up and over, step back into high plank. Optional vinyasa flow is there if you'd like to take it. Meeting back in downward facing dog. And then lift your left leg towards the sky. As you step through for your runner's lunge and leave your right hand on the ground, left hand towards the hip or towards the sky, twist. Left hand down, rise up, crescent lunge. From your crescent lunge, you bring your hands to heart center. Hinge forward, twist towards the left, right elbow on the outside of your left knee. Perhaps you're starting to open your arms up. Hands back to heart center as you come into your crescent lunge and open up into your warrior two. Extended side angle, left elbow on top of left knee, right hand towards the sky, reaching over. Maybe it's a half or a full bind. And then you're releasing your bind as you start to extend through both legs and arms, left hand down, right hand towards the sky. Then your next inhale will bring you back up to warrior two. Bending through the front knee, rise up. Bring your hands to the ground. This time just come back into your downward facing dog. Take a breath, child's pose. Observing your breath and your heart rate and the sensations that you're creating within your body. And then take your time to make your way down onto your backs. So there's no rush. Now, our session today has been quite dynamic, exploring those different twisting and binding variations to help progress your practice. So now as you extend your arms and your legs, with your eyes gently closed, allow your heartbeat to start to slow back down. Observing your belly rising and falling with your breath cycle. Enjoying Shavasana, your final relaxation at the end of each session. Now you're welcome to stay here for as long as you need to. I encourage you to stay for at least 5 to 10 more breaths if you can. If you're ready to seal your session, start to bring your knees in towards your chest. Maybe a little rock from side to side. You can roll over onto one side and press yourself up to seated, or just simply rock and roll up to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. And gently bowing your head to seal your practice, together we say Namaste. Now, thank you so much for joining me for the next Yoga 101 installment, and I truly hope that that has once again given you more awareness and confidence with your yoga poses. I'll see you back on your mat soon.